Welcome to the Creative Real Estate Agent. I'm your host, Anastasia Forrest, broker associate with eXp Realty and creative person. Today, I am solo. It is just me today. And I like doing these every once in a while. I actually schedule them in because going solo is a great opportunity to share some of my own thoughts and ideas about creativity and using creativity in our lives and in our real estate careers. So yes, you're listening to the show, the place to get ideas on how to supercharge your real estate business and life with your creativity, using it in a way that is optimal and helpful and conducive to your wholeness. And that's what I'm all about. That's what I'd like. That's what I'd like to that's what I'm working on. So, hey, so that's what the show's about. Um, so first of all, I'm going to, instead of doing icebreakers with another person, because obviously there is no other person, I'm going to use this opportunity to share a couple of random weird thoughts that I had this week as my icebreakers. So first of all, I was taking a walk the other day and I was thinking about the phrase killing it. You know, it's used all the time. It's thrown around a lot. And it means in our modern day parlance and how we use it, how everybody around me is using it. What it means is if you say somebody's killing it, it means that person's doing awesome. That person is succeeding like above and beyond. They're rocking and rolling. And there's another phrase that doesn't make sense. But they're doing really well in their life, right? They're making a lot of money or they're getting a lot of fans. Who knows? It depends on what realm of life that person is in. But killing it means that you're just doing really well in the life thing, in the profession thing. So I was wondering, I was like, when did this phrase come about? Like, I mean, it sounds straight up hunter and gatherer. It sounds like it came from, it's like a throwback to the time when we had to go out and kill our food and bring it home and cook it. So, and I guess in a way somebody does that, but I was thinking it's kind of interesting that we're using that phrase like now, in 2021, killing it. Like, I mean, it's just really interesting, right? So, and then I started thinking about how, that expression is actually doesn't really work very well for vegans or vegetarians. And so I was thinking, what would the alternative expression be for somebody that like doesn't eat meat or something? And it's like, that person's really harvesting it. I know this is ridiculous, but yeah, so harvesting it could be the alternative expression for somebody that wasn't into killing things to eat them. So that's random thought number one. You're welcome. Think about that for a while. This other thought I had while I was like drifting off to sleep yesterday. Yeah, I was tired in the middle of the day. Like we had a final walkthrough and I was exhausted afterwards. So I came home, ate some food, and laid down. And as I started to drift off to sleep, I had this random idea pop into my head about so what if somebody was like so into their real estate team or their brokerage that they got like a giant tattoo? So for my real estate team, it's the forest team. It's a picture of a house with a tree. It says the forest team underneath at eXp Realty. There's a lot of strict rules in marketing and real estate. And one of those rules is that the brokerage's name must be larger than the team's name. So I imagine like, what if somebody got that tattooed on their back or something, and then they got called out for the brand name being smaller than the team name and they got in trouble and they had to like redo their whole tattoo because of that. Okay. I know that is absolutely also very ridiculous and I'm sorry, but that's just something random that popped into my head. You have to really, really love your branding, your team, or your brokerage to get it tattooed on your body. I personally have no tattoos. I'm not against tattoos. However, I know myself, and I know that I change my mind a lot, and I change, what I like a lot sometimes. So I don't think I could permanently commit to a tattoo, but who knows, maybe down the road, my thoughts will change on that. So yes, so ice has been broken. I feel completely comfortable. I've shared ridiculous thoughts with you guys. Okay. So now let's get into the bulk of the show. I was about to say the meat of the show, but that again, I don't know. I have been eating vegetarian lately. I like it. I did have a tiny bit of turkey for lunch. So no, not completely vegetarian, but I do like vegetables. Okay. Back to the topic. So today's topic, what I'm talking about is turning the phrase and the mentality of so I can to and I can. And I'm first going to go into what I mean by this. So I'm talking about a mindset shift. And so we're going to start there. It is a mindset shift, which in turn obviously pours into everything you do. So it is very easy in many realms of life, but I'm talking about real estate. In real estate, to get into a mentality of I'm doing A, B, and C, so I can do X, Y, Z. And we're invited to do that, in fact, because often when you start, one of the big questions that you're encouraged to think about by coaches and mentors is, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing real estate? Why are you going to showings? Why are you prospecting? Why are you knocking on doors? Why? You have to find your why. Otherwise, when it gets hard, when it gets tough, you're going to want to give up and quit. And if you don't have a good why, then you very well may quit and drop out because you don't have a strong enough why. So, since we're so encouraged to think about this why, it's the trap, I think, is falling into some kind of life where there's the one side, the work side, the side where you're professional, you put on your persona for work and all of that. And then there's your other side, right? Your side, especially as a creative person, your side where you feel comfortable to be yourself, to wear brightly colored clothes, perhaps, to share creative ideas, to share music, to spend time painting, even if you don't share it, just to even spend time in that creative space and that place where you're expressing your creativity. It can become a little bit of a tug of war. Okay. So back to just rewinding back a little bit, because the so I can, like, I'm doing, say for creative. So say for me, one of my whys is I'm doing real estate so I can make enough money from that I don't ever have to worry about making money from creativity. I want to do my creativity for the joy of it. And I also want to have the time to do it. I'm doing real estate so I can plan my schedule, so I can have parts of my day that I can write, read, make music. That's the ideal, right? In my mind, my ideal of why I'm doing this is, of course, there are other things as well. But as far as creativity goes, I'm doing this so I can have time to be myself and be creative. And I'm not in a 9 to 5 where I'm locked into an everyday, schedule, and I don't have freedom. It's for the freedom, right? So, and part of that freedom and why I want that is because I'm creative and I want time to spend in creativity. So the what I'm getting at here is, and why would you want to change that? So what's the problem, right? We need to talk about what's the problem, what's the pain point, why is that a problem? And I can say firsthand why that's a problem, okay? Because the problem is that it can definitely lead to a fragmented life. Anytime that you're setting up two different identities or two different personas or ways of approaching the world, those two things can become competing forces. They can become forces that challenge each other. It can become confusing, even perhaps. So on the one side, you have, you're this polished, logical, very professional real estate agent. And on the other side, you're all the stuff you're stuffing down to play the role of what you think you need to be successful in real estate. And that might be creative. That might be the fun. That might be the improvisational you, the intuitive you. And as you can imagine, if you're trying to do that, if you're stuffing that down, that's not healthy, right? And Carl Jung has some excellent quotes about this. So in his writing and his thoughts, he had this idea of the shadow. And if you haven't heard of this before, I encourage you to go read about it, check it out, Google it, or check out a book. And he thought everybody has a shadow, and it's the side that it's the unconscious stuff, or it's the stuff that we isn't part of our tailored, crafted persona that we show the world, right? And so for us in real estate, or in roles like a real estate agent, it's tempting to delegate all of that stuff that doesn't seem to fit into the idea that we have that prominent idea, the classic idea of this real estate agent. And that becomes kind of like part of your shadow. So I'm going to read a couple of quotes that I pulled from online that seemed really relevant. So this is a Carl Jung quote. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. At all counts, it forms an unconscious snag, thwarting our most well-meant intentions. Ooh, so I mean, this suggests, like, not only is it unhealthy to delegate all of that stuff to the shadow, it's dangerous, because the more it is buried, the more it is not integrated, the more it is not acknowledged, it actually becomes, he's saying, denser. It's becoming something that can really like be a point of tripping for you. It could become a stumbling block. And no matter how much your conscious mind is like, I'm going to be a top producer, I'm going to make, this much money and help this many people with real estate this year, as much as your like not shadow side, your conscious side is saying that and focusing on that, and focusing on doing what you think it takes to do that. That actually in the background and underneath the surface, there's all this unconscious stuff swirling around that can grow into this force that could actually mess up your plans pretty badly. So there's a danger to repressing, strong parts of yourself. And if you're a creative person, your creativity is a strong part of yourself. So I just want you to keep that in mind as we're having this talk today. Another quote I have from Carl Jung that I liked and thought applicable is this: wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries. So this quote points at the solution. It points toward finding a solution. And he talks a lot about wholeness, and individuation and actualization, right? And it means wholeness is the idea that you're not fragmented. You don't have these two separate selves or motives that can fight each other and become problems. What can happen, what you can do, is by instead of cutting off a portion of yourself, he's saying you could actually integrate those two together. So I think you can see where this is going. And I also have a quote that it is attributed to William Shakespeare. I am so sorry I did not look it up to double check that. And I should, and I will, but I thought this was a good one as well. And he says, "This thing of darkness, I acknowledge, is mine." So I love that as well, because it suggests that by reclaiming our creativity, by reclaiming parts of ourselves that we are repressing in the name of adulting or whatever, in the name of professionalism, he's saying like that instead of it becoming something that's like potentially dangerous, or potentially a stumbling block, acknowledging it is to acknowledge it is to obtain some kind of ownership over it, because now it's you've claimed it, and you can integrate it. Going back to Carl Jung, you can integrate it into your life and into your career and into your day. So the point of all of that is to say it's important to integrate your shadow. It's important to integrate your creativity and to bring it into the light. Yes, even as an adult. Yes, even as a real estate agent. It doesn't cease to be a part of you. And to bury it is not only going to be a pain point for you that's going to grow until you acknowledge it, it's also can potentially sabotage your efforts. And so, yeah, so before I move on, though, we're going to go into the integration, side of this discussion. But before I go there, I'm going to open up and talk to you about stuff in my real estate, like that's going on right now that I'm trying to figure out. I certainly don't have this figured out. This podcast is a journey. It's a story of my own process of being a creative real estate agent, of figuring out what that means, what that looks like, as well as, of course, talking to a lot of amazing people and sharing ideas with people. So currently, here's an example. Okay, we're going to talk about Instagram. I'm in my late 30s. Instagram isn't huge for me. It hasn't been huge for me. I like it. I love photos. I love art. I love video. I think it's so much fun. And I think there's so much you can do. It's definitely lends very well to creativity. However, I think because I don't know if it's because of my age or what, I have a hard time really getting into it. That being said, I have two different accounts. I have one, which is Forest Realtors, which is purely real estate. It is 100% real estate. If I sell something, I'll make a cool graphic that shows the house, maybe a picture of the clients. I'll maybe show myself dressed up before going to a closing. Maybe I do stuff like that, just various real estate related stuff. And it's a little, I think it looks very professional. It looks very clean cut. It looks great if somebody were perusing my maybe the Forest Realtors or the Forest team, and they're just like, oh, let me check out their Instagram. It looks very professional. It's very above board, very just straightforward, but it's a little bit, I don't know, maybe boring. Okay. And there's no chances taken. There's no bold moves made there. It's very cut and dry. On the other hand, I have Anastasia of the Earth, my other Instagram account, which is my personal account that I had even prior to being a real estate agent. And that one has been private up until today. Today, I made it public because I'm figuring something out. So on that one, it's not like oversharing. It's nothing crazy, but it is not real estate related. It's not it doesn't look professional. It's photos of my kids, which are beautiful. It's photos and videos of myself. Sometimes photos of me or videos of me playing piano. Sometimes it's just my hands playing piano, because I'll get into that for a few weeks at a time. Maybe playing guitar, maybe singing a song or ukulele. There's a point in time 2 years ago, this is around this time of year I get very creative. It was two years ago. I was really into painting and drawing and art. And so there's like, for a while, there's just pictures of my drawings and my paintings and my art. And then all of a sudden that's gone. And then, just daily life or things like that. I wouldn't say I post every day. I'm not a daily poster, but every once in a while. And then during the lockdown, there's a bunch of yoga. I mean, I was doing these yoga challenges. So there's like videos and photos of me doing yoga. And then that goes away and you don't see that again. So I was doing a review last night, in case you can't tell. So it's a little all over the place. It's certainly not, it was a place where I was trying to not be annoying, quote unquote, annoying about real estate. So I was trying to kind of just be, this is just my own stuff, like my own personal thing, right? Okay, so the problem is I am actually taking a course on Instagram because, as I said, I am old. No offense to other late 30-year-olds, but it doesn't come super naturally to me. I don't mind getting in front of the camera. Obviously, I'm in front of a camera right now. I don't mind talking. Once I start, here I go. I am. But I have a problem, like, honestly, figuring out the tech, like how to do stuff. Like on one of them, I figured out just the other day that I can do reels. On the other one, I have no idea how to get to the reels. I don't think it's an option for me. That's the professional account. So that's a problem. If I want to make that the main one. So yeah, so my problem is here, and this is just exactly what I'm talking about. I have in this area, because I was just starting out as a real estate agent, and my first impression of what you do as a real estate agent was to be super clean cut and professional. And I was trying to do that. So that's why I made that separate account. The problem is right now, like they're total opposites, right? I've got one that's personal and was private up till today, and another that's just kind of like great. It's professional, but maybe it's not exactly what's working on Instagram. What works on Instagram is being exciting and interesting and fun and colorful. Even if you are a real estate agent, that's actually what's working. What I'm seeing work for other people on Instagram is to be more personal, a little bit more personal. Yeah. And show yourself and show your interests and show your hobbies and let people get to know you. So basically I'm in the process of figuring out how to bring those two sides together in Instagram. And I know this sounds crazy, but this is part of the job, it's part of the job. So I am trying to decide whether I create a whole new account and I create a new name for the account. I've thought of some fun ones. Stasia, selling with Stasia. I don't know. Or I could just call it creative real estate agent, because yes, I want to be able to share stuff about this show as well. Okay. So do I do that, or do I pick one and drop the other, and just stop nurturing the other and just really core myself into the other? So but to be honest, I'm a little self-conscious of the personal one, because I'm like, some of these real estate clients are going to look at this and think I'm absolutely nuts. Like yoga and then painting and then nothing. Like, what's going on with this girl? Okay. So yes, so I have, that's going on. So I am in the process of figuring that out. I think as far as in my business in general, I'm moving into more being comfortable and being willing to, being open to the idea of integrating like more of myself into it. And I'm really excited about that. For example, this weekend, tomorrow, actually, I am hosting a ukulele gathering in my neighborhood. Okay. I got this idea about 2 weeks ago. It just kind of came to me and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Why didn't I think about this sooner? Because I love music. I went to graduate school for music therapy. I was a music teacher for a while, teaching private lessons. And although it's not really what I'm doing for my living, to kill it, to make my killing, whatever, to plant my harvest, and go harvest my plants. It is something that's important, that is part of me that I enjoy sharing with other people, like, and more so than it's ever been any kind of money generating source, which it really hasn't been compared to real estate. It's like pennies, right? But I love it. So it's like, how can I actually share music with other people? I have so much to share. I was teaching Sean to learn helping him read music the other day on the piano, and it felt so good to be able to share that with somebody. And so I thought, I should do something like a group, invite people from the neighborhood or from maybe from wherever, because ukulele is a smaller segment of people that happen to play ukulele. But I was like, they could be beginners, that you guys can come. I'll teach you. We'll start with a couple chords. We'll play together. It'll be fun. We'll sit. I'm picturing us like sitting in a circle in my yard. We live on the intercoastal. It's really pretty. So anyway, I'm really excited about that. I put out this flyer and I've gotten some interest for sure. So anyway, what I'm suggesting to you, and yes, I'm going to wear my real estate name tag. I'm not going to be talking about selling real estate. That's not why I'm there. But yeah, I'm doing that as part of my marketing in a subtle way. I think I'll put the music in Force Team folders. I mean, they're going to get to know me because I'm going to be leading this group. So what I'm suggesting to you and what I'm sharing with you is that there are ways that you can bring in your creativity into your business and generate leads and make friends and build community. And so, yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm actually on that same exact journey. I'm coming up with ways to do that. And I'm really excited about it. I'm going to take a sip of water now. Don't mind me. Water is good. Okay. So now that we've talked about the potential pitfalls of dwelling in that so I can mentality, I've got to do this so I can do this. I've got to work so I can play. I've got to work so I can eat. I've got to eat so I can live. All of that is true to some extent. I mean, actually, it's true. You have to eat to live. But yeah, is it the optimal way to think all the time? Is it healthy for us as creatives, as human beings? No, it's not. So moving on to the next step of our conversation, we're going to start talking about the integration process and what that looks like and how I can do this. So how can you integrate creativity into your day-to-day activities as a real estate agent? How? That's the question. The answer is going to be very unique to you. It's going to take some time. It's probably going to take some reflection. And it's probably going to be something that emerges over time, like it is for me. So I started out wearing heels and makeup every day. I started out going to an office every day. And I mean, look at me now. I'm sitting at a desk in my daughter's room in a makeshift studio setting, wearing some headphones and a striped shirt. And I'm talking to you in my podcast because podcasting is a form of creativity. But it's also a form of networking and business building. So what I'm saying is I'm realizing, as you can realize as well, that if you don't put on makeup one day, it's really not the end of the world. You're not going to like lose your business. You don't have to feel like you have to do that to be successful. You can be yourself. Now, should you be be the best version of yourself? Yes, of course. But you don't have to fit into the mold and you don't have to be like the agent next door or something. The agent next door. So you can be more natural while being professional, and it will actually serve you well, because what it's going to do is it's going to draw the people to you that resonate with you. And those are the people you want to work with, trust me. So what does this look like? Yeah. Are you going to go into a showing, strumming a guitar or something and sing to your clients while you guide them through the home? Probably not. Okay. Not to say that it couldn't work somehow, somewhere. I can kind of see that going viral on some person's Instagram channel who's way better at Instagram than me. But no, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not suggesting you go full force into your creative side like that necessarily. What I am suggesting is that there are an endless number of ways that you can start to integrate your creativity into your business. For one, just start thinking less about having two sides. see where those sides can interlap. Um, and like I mentioned, my Instagram account, I already talked about that enough. I don't need to go into that anymore. But keep it real, keep it about, people want to get to know you. You're a real person who sells real estate. So keep it real. Now I have had a flood of ideas this week because I'm sure you want some more specific ideas. And first of all, before I share some ideas with you, I'm going to suggest to you that if you're wanting to get some ideas about how you can do this, how you can maybe do something like I did, like start a ukulele group, but with your own spin or your own creative hobby, like something totally different. Maybe it's fishing, maybe it's golfing or painting, or maybe it's something like I'm not even thinking about, like making jewelry, or whittling. Like there are so many hobbies and people out there to enjoy them with and to share them with. Now, but no matter what it is that moves you and is fun for you and inspires you, no matter what it is, you're going to want to know, you're wondering like, well, what can I do really? Like, how can I integrate that? What can I do? So as far as coming up with ideas, like I definitely suggest going on a walk. For me, going on a walk early in the morning, after I've dropped my youngest off to daycare, going for a walk, maybe putting my earbuds in. A lot of times I'll have my AirPods and I'll be listening to music and I'll be walking and looking at the water and looking at the grass, and looking at the trees. I don't have my phone. Nobody can contact me on my watch. It's before business hours. And in that time, I feel very free to daydream and to let my thoughts just kind of go and play. And I get all kinds of cool ideas. That's what I'm trying to say. Is when I'm walking is one of the times when I get a lot of creativity flowing. Something about the physical motion, along with just being, in my own world with the AirPods and not having my phone and just being alone, um, is an invitation for that creativity to start to really flow. So if there's any way that you can do that, that's something that might work for you to help getting your ideas going, and just kind of, plant that seed. Once I'm planting a seed in your subconscious, so it should start to grow one way or the other. Next, another place where I sometimes get ideas is in the shower. So I don't know if that works for you or not, but something about the water and the warmth and just, again, being in your own little cocoon, your own little space. I don't know. For me, sometimes that is a place of creativity. All right. Like I said, I have had a lot of ideas. I tried to think of myself as not being myself, and maybe somebody that had different hobbies, different creative hobbies. And so I came up with a bunch of ideas. All right. And I scribbled them in a notebook. We are going to talk about ideas that you can use, whether, and the main, like the spaces where you could use these are potentially in the areas of lead generation, closing gifts, and further nurturing your clients, and nurturing your client relationships, whether closed or not. Past clients, current clients, friends, family, prospective clients. And what's going to happen is, by doing these things, you're going to be potentially building a community, and a sphere, and you're going to be strengthening that sphere of people. And I think it really could become an amazing source of leads for you. It's a million times easier to work with someone who gets you and who's on a similar wavelength and all that. So here are just some starting ideas. Feel free to take these. Feel free to use these or alter them, make them your own, and just try it. Don't be afraid to try things. Okay. All right. So if you like painting and art, I think it would be really cool if you, especially with, so in St. Augustine where I live, we used to have this place called Painting with a Twist. It was, I think it was pretty popular. Whenever I would go, the pretty much every seat would be filled usually. And you've probably heard of this no matter where you live. I think it was pretty common in other places as well. But basically you go in, you sit at, they have these tables set up and they have canvases set up. They have the paints there and the paint brushes, and it is called Painting with a Twist. So the idea is that you could also just bring a bottle of wine or something, and you could, they'd have wine openers. So you could pour yourself a glass of wine and you'd sit there at the table with your canvas and your paints, and there'd be a teacher up on the stage, somebody guiding the class. And that person would guide the class through making a painting step by step in a way that was broken down so well and so, simply that pretty much anybody would come out, most people would come out with a painting that looked somewhat like the painting that we were trying to do, which is really fun for people, even artists or not. I mean, I had a birthday party there. I thought it was great. So we don't have that anymore. But you know what we do have? We have Facebook Lives. And Facebook Lives, if you haven't gotten into them, I mean, I'm broadcasting my podcast on a Facebook Live right now. I think they're great because it's a live broadcast. And I mean, it really can be a great way to get people tuning into together to doing something. So, for example, I think it would be really, really cool if somebody was good at painting and they were a real estate agent, if they did like a weekly or bi-weekly painting with a twist class over Facebook. And you wouldn't call it Painting with a Twist, you could call it Painting with Anastasia or something. I mean, whatever your name is. I'm saying Anastasia because that's my name. But and it could be hosted by, so say it was me, hosted by Anastasia Forrest, broker associate with eXp Realty. You could brand the flyers when you're announcing it coming up. You could put your logo in the corner, which is what I'm doing for the ukulele group, by the way. And when you start your broadcast and you've got your easel and you've got your canvas and you've got your paints, you can introduce yourself. You can tell, really, I mean, I wouldn't make it super long, but tell them who you are. Tell them why you like painting. Tell them you sell houses, and then teach them how to paint, show them how to paint something, and then have everybody comment, take a picture of their painting when they're done in the comments, or even as you're going along. Maybe there's another way to actually get them involved where you could actually see them as well. I think that something like that would be awesome and would be so much fun. And I could totally see someone like me tuning into that and really getting into that. Like, that sounds like fun. And guess what? Not everybody's at the point of their lives where they're ready to buy or sell a house. But guess what? If you do that for long enough, when somebody in that group is, they're going to think about you. You're going to come to their mind. And that's what it's about. Like, that's what I'm talking about here. This is definitely the long game. This isn't the hard sell. This isn't cold calling. This is building relationships, building community. And honestly, like I'm really starting to think that that's where it's at. I hate cold calling with a passion. Okay. On to the next one. Oh yeah. As well, you could also include a link to your website in the description. So before you go live, of course, you have a place where you can write some text. You could include, this is, search homes here. I mean, there are tons of ways you can integrate this. So think about that. Again, another idea for you, if you're a real estate agent who is interested in or good at art and painting, you could host pop-up painting parties. So you could, now that we're getting out of COVID, especially too, and out of, at least here in Florida, people are getting together and things like that more freely. So you could actually host these get-togethers like in person and do the same kind of thing. And you could even wear your name tag, wear your real estate name tag. And not only could you host them at your own house or at maybe a community center or something, but you could also consider hosting them at your friends' houses. Maybe that same group of friends that you start to nurture and get to know from this painting group, maybe they would want to take turns, and maybe they would want you to be at their house, and maybe you're going to meet their neighbors because maybe they could invite their neighbors. So you see what I'm saying? You're going to start to really, you can start to meet people in different neighborhoods this way as well. Um, so it's really cool. Like, I think there's so much potential for something like that. I think it would be fun too. Um, an idea for you, again, if you're an artist like this, a painter, a closing gift. I think an amazing closing gift would be if you were to paint a picture of the client's home, right? And get it, you could give them the original, or you could make it into a card, and give them the original as well. You could frame it really nicely for them. I mean, how special is that? Like, they're going to remember that. There's a lot more memorable than like a bottle of wine and some chocolates, which I've totally given as closing gifts before. People actually do love that too. But how cool to give them something you made and something that's part of you as a creative agent. I've actually have painted somebody a picture of the inside of their house as a closing gift now that I think about it. Forgot about that. They seem to like it. They, at least they seem to like it. So hopefully they really did. But so that's something you could definitely do. It's very personal, nice, and just, I think it's cool. And it's good marketing. It's good. I don't know. It's good practice. It's something personal. Um, so yeah, so that there's a few ideas for you if your thing is painting, okay, or drawing, and just use your creativity and expand this to whatever realm it might be that you are in. You could definitely apply this to things other than painting. All right, moving on to perhaps somebody with a different hobby. So, what if your hobby is not painting? What if you hate painting? What if you think you're bad at it and you don't like it? Well, I've got something else for you. Say your thing is reading and writing. I love reading and writing. Personally, I actually love all this stuff. So, but reading and writing, oh my God, like you could have a lot of fun with this. So, you could start a neighborhood book club. Yes, you could. And going back to social media and Facebook, it is easier than ever to start a group around something. If you guys haven't gotten into Facebook groups yet, I recommend checking it out. I I haven't started a Facebook group yet. I don't have a group. I mean, I joined them, but I haven't actually ever started one. But this would be cool. Like, this would be a cool way to do this and build community and work your sphere and get clients. So what if you started a neighborhood book club? What if you started a Facebook group for your neighborhood and or your market area or farm area, where however large or small you wanted it to be, start inviting people, maybe go on Nextdoor and advertise it, tell people about it, promote it, and invite them to your Facebook group. And you guys could maybe pick a different book, maybe every month. I've never been part of a book club, but I'm guessing maybe every month. You pick a new book, and you would be the leader of the group. People are going to be looking to you already for their for the guidance in this group. I've like I said, I've never been part of a book club, but I'm guessing what happens is you guys discuss the books, right? So so you read the book, you all read the book. Along the way, you can prompt discussion in the group. You can get conversation going. You can say, oh, what did you think about what happened at the end of that fifth chapter? What did you feel about that? How did that make you feel? What do where do you think this is going? I don't know. I'm imagining being part of a book club. Basically get the conversation going. And then when you meet up to like discuss the books as well, you introduce yourself. I'm Anastasia Forrest. I'm a broker associate with eXp Realty. I also really love to read. And I'm so excited to get to share my love of reading with you guys. And I'm excited to get to chat about this book together. And yeah, I mean, that's the idea. It's just building community around something you're interested in. And I think it's great. Along similar lines, you could start a writing group. And maybe you could, this is a different, obviously a different idea, but if you were going to do like, I don't know, you could even niche down. Like it could be a writing group specifically for moms who are trying to write a book. I mean, that would be probably too specific, but it could be a poetry group. You guys could take turns. You could have like inside the group, you could have Facebook lives where each person would take turns like reading their poem aloud, like a poetry reading. I mean, there are really like endless kinds of things you could do. It could be shorter form writing. You guys could be writing. It could be people who are working on, I don't know, really anything, really anything. Like, for example, lately I've gotten into something called medium.com. It's a website for basically people that want to write articles, and you can publish your stuff immediately, like that. And basically you could, there's a room to really become a prominent voice. You have to, like anything, like Instagram or anything, any kind of platform, you have to dig in and do things a certain way in order to get your stuff seen. And I'm not there yet at all, at all. I mean, I share it with my friends and stuff like that. So I've gotten some views that way, but you can actually try to be part of their publications, and they have different ones. Like they have one that's for, they have groups for, it's kind of like magazines. They're like online magazines, right? So family. What I'm trying to say is in your bio, you have, like, for example, for me, it says broker associate with eXp Realty, and I'm really creative and I like to write and read. But I say it in a better way than that. But basically what I see that could happen if someone were to really take advantage of something like that is if you focus on that and you start writing articles, and maybe you get published in the family magazine, maybe you get published over here in the marketing magazine, but all the time kind of including little anecdotes about being a real estate agent. Like there's tons of ways that intersects with being a mom. In marketing, yeah, like that's a big part of real estate. So I mean, you can definitely start to like include that in there, and say something takes off, say one of your pieces goes viral. All of a sudden you're going to have fans, people like following you on other places like Instagram, like this, like that. And guess what? You're going to build that, what's it called when you build, social proof. You're going to build social proof. So when somebody looks you up to see if they want to do real estate with you, do a deal with you, or refer someone to you, guess what? They're going to see that you've got all this social proof. You've got all these people following you. And I mean, that helps. And not only that, guys, when you're in real estate, you can get referrals from all over. So say me here in St. Augustine, by reaching out and making connections with people across the other side of the country, it really doesn't matter where. The really cool thing is if they end up having somebody moving to Florida or Northeast Florida or St. Augustine, even better, guess what? They're going to think about me for that referral. So what I'm trying to get you to think about is the idea that your business isn't limited to, there's just no limit. There's really no limit. And that's one of the beautiful things about real estate and creativity. So if you can let your creativity expand your ideas of what's possible and what will work for you, I think it's a good thing. Okay. I also had more ideas. I'm going to run out of time to share these ideas. And guys, I don't feel threatened or nervous about sharing these ideas at all. I'm not like, I'm going to keep these to myself because one day I might want to do them. I don't have time to do everything. I would like to do tons of things. There's tons of things I would like to do, but I know the truth that whoever may decide to do any of these is going to take a lot of work. It's going to take consistency, and it takes dedication and work. And really, you can having an idea is one thing, but really the magic comes in is in the execution. So it's in the doing it. And I would love it if I inspired somebody out there today to do something. So another thing you could do is a songwriter circle, and that one obviously comes right from my head. I love songwriting. And how fun would that be, right? And again, you could do it through a Facebook group. You could do it in real life. There really are options of what that could look like. Oh yeah, back on the writing, you could write an ebook. You can write I'm going to be interviewing somebody next week who's published his own ebook or in his own book. It's a book. So, and he's a real estate agent, and there's tons of places. There's tons of room for writers to write about real estate or real estate related topics. I mean, it doesn't even have to be about real estate, but you could say in your bio that you're a realtor. I mean, these things, what can happen is these things can build on each other. And I am kind of, wow, it's almost been 50 minutes. I usually do these for an hour at most. So I'm mindful of the time that we'll be wrapping this up soon, but let's see how many more of these ideas I can get out. You could do little music lessons. So this is now we're moving into, say you're a musician. You could do short music lessons through Facebook Lives. Like for me, I think it would be fun, like to do the ukulele thing and just let people know when to expect it. So they anticipate seeing you, and make it fun, make it interesting. And yeah, and again, just introduce yourself and what you do each time. For keeping up with clients, and this is something I've thought about doing, and I think I started, and it was a big project, and I got distracted with something else. But it would be really cool to record yourself singing personalized birthday songs to your clients, and on their birthday, you just send them a text with the song. Group music sessions. That would be like what I'm doing this weekend, the ukulele gathering. Oh, I've got one I'm doing this summer, so I'm not going to share it. I am going to keep that one to myself. But I mean, I'm not really afraid of anybody stealing it, but I'm just going to save that one for now because I'm still brainstorming it, and it's still in the brainstorming stages. So I'm not going to talk about that one. You could start a podcast. It's fun. It is creative. I'm telling you, and it doesn't have to be all about real estate. Make it about something else that you're interested in as well, and just bring real estate into it as well, on the side, or however prominently you want to feature it. It's kind of up to you. And then, yeah, have fun with social media. If that's something that you're good at and something you want to learn about, go for it. Try it. I listened to a podcast the other day. It's called Hustle Humbly, and it was featuring somebody named Amy. And she's got I think 68,000 followers on TikTok. And I don't think she's much differently aged than I am. I think she's in her late. I think she's around my age. I just have that feeling from, anyway, but she's got this huge following on TikTok of all places. If you don't know what TikTok is, you probably know what it is. I don't quite understand what it is. It's like short form videos. That are really popular with like younger people. But you could actually apparently use that. I mean, that could be something, that could be your thing. Like if you enjoy that and you're having fun with that, like you could have a video take off like it did for her. And all of a sudden you're getting referrals and people recognizing you and people wanting you to be involved in their real estate transaction. It really could come from anywhere. You could do fundraisers. You could get involved in bettering your community. I love this idea. See a need, fill a need, and do it, wearing your name tag or wearing your real estate shirt. It's totally okay. It's totally okay. And you could start, again, with Facebook groups. I was thinking it'd be really, I was actually thought of this on my walk the other day. I was like, I've shared custody of my my older daughter, and going through that was really, really tough. And one of the hardest parts about that was I felt like I couldn't really talk about it because I don't know, when you're going through the custody battle, and even now I don't really talk that much about it because it's private, and it's also just confident. It's like it could be used against you in court. It's like scary stuff, right? So you have to be really careful not to just everything. You have to be really careful about what you say, what you do, how you show up, all of that. And I was just thinking how it would be cool, and I'm sure they're out there, but you could do it in your own community. Having a shared parenting support group, how cool and helpful could be? Because Facebook groups are private. Now, could somebody come up with a fake name and apply to be in it? Maybe, but you can vet them. You could have them answer certain questions. You could research them and make sure they're a real person, make sure they're who they say they are. But yeah, what about having one for women? Like if you're a woman, make it for women. and have this support group for them for newly single moms. And not only can you help them by creating the safe space for them to have discussion and have connection and community, you could help them by being able to help them find a new house, being able to help them save up for a house, teach them how to get their credit score up, help them learn what they can do, like empower them. You can do that. And I think that would be amazing. Yeah. So as time is winding down, I hope that was helpful. I know those ideas were kind of all over the place, but that's how creativity is sometimes. And the point is, I wanted you to start thinking outside the box. And I want you to think about using your creativity and using your ideas in ways that will enrich your community, enrich your life, help, you know, help you to find wholeness, help you to experience all of who you are and be able to use, be yourself and use the gifts that you have, while building your real estate business. Nothing happens overnight. There is an element of time. Like everything is going to take time to grow and mature. But if you get started, just pick an idea and get started with it. And just be patient and don't stop doing the other things you're doing necessarily. Keep making the phone calls. If you're doing, you're doing your prospecting, and obviously show up really well for your current clients, of course. But in the meantime, give your creativity some room to breathe. Give it space in your life. And instead of keeping it in a box over to the side, see if you can open that up and let that be a part of your everyday life. Yeah, so I think that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear what you thought about this show, and if it gave you any ideas, and if you did, if you tried them and how it worked. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can always find me on Facebook under Anastasia Forrest. You can also look me up on LinkedIn. I'm on there. And you can go to creativerealestateagents.com to read more. I have some blog posts there, and I also have a place you can set up a chat with me if you'd like to chat. And soon I'll have some kind of new Instagram account, or a revisioned one. I don't know. I'll let you know how that goes on my next solo show. But until next time, I hope you have a great day and a great weekend, and stay creative.